Han taking out the promoted from qualifiers Lee So-yut. And of course, they will face Putri Kusumawardani, who we saw earlier on dispose of Chu Pin-chan.
다음 선수를 소개합니다. 일본의 토모카 미야자키. 토모카 미야자키, JPN.
Well, here she comes. A lot of pressure has been put on this young lady's shoulders. After, of course, winning the World Junior Championships and then her wonderful debut into the senior tour, where she's already been sticking it to some of the biggest players, Miyazaki. And even An Se-young has said after playing her that she is got something very special. Of course, it still has to be realized. She's just turned 19, I think, if I'm right. No, still 18. 17th of August, first meeting between these players, and she's already broken into the top 20 at that age. She's now 13th in the world, taking on Han Zhanzi, who's 185th in the world. But I was actually at the World Junior Championships in Nanchang not so long ago, and I was talking to Bobby Griffin, who's really the expert when it comes to World Juniors, and he himself confirmed that while Miyazaki has the potential to be one of the greatest champions, that potential still needs to be realized, and I think the press has kind of moved forward a little bit, and you know, there's still a long way to go. 13th ranked though at 18, that is pretty spectacular. Born in Osaka, and has had a pretty good run so far. She was third at the Arctic Open, Macau and Hong Kong. Those have all been in the last month or two. Second at the China Masters, third at the Swiss Open, and has won a title this year, the Orléans Masters. This was her run to the semi-finals. Chen Su-yu, 37 minutes. Another junior champion, Pink, Pichamon Patniputh, 73 minutes, dropped a game there. And Lin Xiangti, 41 minutes. The number 7 seed disposed of 21-18, 21-10. Overwhelming favorite for this match, and by being top seed, well, it'll be good to have her in the finals tomorrow. 22-year-old Han Zhanzi, born in Zhejiang, and there's her ranking, 185. She's been about 3 spots higher, has actually only taken part in 3 tournaments this year, which was the China Masters, the Baoji China Masters, so there's the Ruchang and the Baoji China Masters, and the Vietnam Open. She won the Baoji China Masters. She actually topped that, picked up a title, and finished 5th at the Ruchang China Masters. So a lot has to, again, I suppose, really be seen in the next few months, maybe even the next year for this 22-year-old player. But coming from China, as I said, at that age, there is a really great infrastructure of support and training that these young players have. So I'm not surprised if she does come through and be one of the favorites. Naomi Oinlove in the umpire's chair. And she's joined by Kim Ga-yeon in the service judge position. And I just expect that that little bit of extra experience that Miyazaki has picked up on the senior tour is going to push her through here, because that's the real difference between these two players. Whatever technical skills, shot-making ability that Han Zhanzi may have, there's that feeling almost. It's an attitude that you have once you've played on the senior tour and you know how games progress and they evolve. You know how to change gears. But a wonderful talent, Miyazaki, no doubt. Shoelaces of different colors, I notice. Interesting. So, our first women's singles semi-final.
Ladies and gentlemen, on my right, Tomoka Miyazaki, Japan. And on my left, An Chen-Chi, China. Tomoka Miyazaki to serve, Lobo, black.
So Miyazaki gets us started.
One love. Service over, 1-all.
Well, in terms of her play, Miyazaki has all the attributes needed. Great at court coverage, wonderful shot maker, and her anticipation and movement is what really makes her special. Quote another one of our resident badminton experts who's not here this week, Steen Pedersen. He also said that she has a badminton-wise brain. She knows how to score points almost instinctively, and that is the key element that you have in players. And if you can nurture that, then whatever footwork and whatever shots they use to do it, they just know where they're supposed to be, and they know what shot they're supposed to play. I thought that was a very valuable insight. Might be errors from Han Jianzi with that less experience. Miyazaki, of course, by playing the likes of Akane Yamaguchi, Chen Yufei, Tai Tzu-Ying, would have realized a lot about her own game from jumping up to senior level.
3-all.
And that's the kind of experience that Han Jianzi has yet to really have day in, week out. Mistake there as well, 4-3 Miyazaki.
Service over, 4-3.
That's a wonderful idea. She's asking for a challenge. I think it's gone wide.
Challenges called out.
Yes, it has.
Challenge unsuccessful. One challenge remaining. Service over, 4-all.
So 4-all, and Han Jianzi so far has dispatched herself perfectly well. What a pattern of play. That's a fantastic point.
Service over, 5-4.
It got so delicate at the net right here. Then there was that wonderful cross-court drop from Miyazaki, which was answered by Han, and then the push to the back. Oh, Han Zhanzi is dictating this point. And it's a powerful shot down the middle, straight to the body.
Service over, 5-6.
That keeps her in the running. Miyazaki with a very slender 1-point lead.
Tomoka.
Well, we just saw the #1 seed in the men's singles get pushed right at the end by Qian George, right to the end. We're seeing an equal amount of pressure coming from Han Zhanzi.
Service over, 7-5.
Wonderfully nipped in there by Miyazaki.
8-5.
Just wide. She knows it.
Service over,
Open court to aim at.
6-8.
Under no pressure at all. That's a wonderful return. She actually
Service over,
kind of messed up the
9-6.
previous shot. Didn't really get a clean contact on it, but when it came back at just the right level in the hitting zone, she manages to plug that into the corner. She won the World Junior Championships in 2022. That's
Service over, 7-9.
great shot by Han. And followed up by very wayward
Service
drop in.
over, 10-7.
So on the brink of the first mid-game interval, and Miyazaki is, well, I wouldn't say comfortably ahead. On the scoreboard she is, of course, but in terms of what's been happening on court, you just get the feeling that she could be a little bit tighter. And also facing a great deal of pressure from Han Zhanzi. Fast, electric pace to that point. And Han comes through with the winner.
Service over, 8-10. 9-10. All.
And how about that? Refusing to go into the break. Han Zhanzi with a 3-point run. Ties her up at 10.
Tomoka, come. Tomoka, come here.
Oh, Miyazaki's about to get a bit of a reprimand, probably for delaying the match. Yep, there you go. Taking a little bit longer than usual to get ready. Oh, she's pushed that wide as well. So
11-10.
at the break, it's Han Zhanzi up 11-10.
那你就是主动的先变线了，我就先变中路或者说对角上去。他也是抓重复球，你知道吗？啊，那你可以结合好就行了啊。
20 seconds, 20 seconds.
Of course, for Miyazaki, it would be a second consecutive final here at the Korea Masters. She did make the final last year, was beaten by Kim Ga-eun. Looking to go one step better, but she's going to have to pick it up a little. Tighten it up, certainly. As right now, Han Zhanzi is looking more than adept. Causing an upset here. Very lucky. Oh, great, straight to the point, straight to the point, straight to the body. Han Zhanzi absolutely merciless.
10.
Had to reset herself nicely after that net court.
Change.
So, first lead for Han. 2 points up, just the right time. Just caught her out of position. Can she finish it off? Nice, steep, downward trajectory from Miyazaki.
Over. 11-12.
Well, that was such an important point for her to win. She really needed to make sure that Han Zhanzi would not be pulling away. It's back down to 1 point. It's well done.
12 all.
She has to just settle herself. Just got trapped in her own head a little there. Nice pick up by Miyazaki. Mistake there by Han Chan-zi, and she's back in the lead.
13-12.
I'll let that 12-10 deficit be a lesson to her. And she has to learn from. Mistake there, and they're still dropping.
Service
Wide
over,
or long.
13 all.
Han Chan-zi with a great chance here in this first game. That's just wide.
Service over, 14-13.
Well, Miyazaki gifted that point, but she still hasn't got an iron grip on this first game. Her own mistakes and some great shots from her opponent mean that it is still up in the air as to where this is going to go. And of course, if you wanted to be really harsh about it, that's the difference between top 4, top 5 at the senior tour and somebody that's just making it on there. Again, caught out by Han Chan-zi.
Service over,
14 all.
14 all.
Once again, just a reminder, this is only the 4th tournament that Han Chan-zi has played in 2024. And 2 of those previous 3 were in China.
Thank you, Rangers.
Vietnam Open being the only one of her international experience. So really, you could say that this is a bit of a breakthrough for a young Chinese player. Once again, she's actually older than Miyazaki.
Life.
It is a battle of future champions, I'm sure. Well, Miyazaki has already got those accolades coming. That's gone long. That's gone wide, yes.
15-14.
Well, these 2 leads that Han Chan-zi has had have been from mistakes from Miyazaki. And it doesn't matter if it's an inch or a foot. The fact is, it's not in. Caught wrong-footed there.
16-14.
Mistake there. Should take that.
Service over.
Han Chan-zi, much
16.
like Kieran George, has zeroed in on her unforced error rate, has cut that down a lot. But Miyazaki still with a lot of work to do if she's going to claim this first game. Nicely played. Ties it up at 16.
All. Service over, 17-16.
Well, again, under no pressure at all. And she just took her eye off the shuttle. And this is dangerous times for the young Japanese star. And 17-16 up. This is her third lead in the second part of the game one. She's up at 13, she's up at 16. She's up at 17.
18-16.
And with a drop off the net, 18-16. Miyazaki playing in the slightly worse end of the court, but very slightly in these conditions. Nineteen 16 up, biggest lead for Han Shanzi. Now the playing conditions have got noticeably faster as the heat, the ambient heat in this stadium has been rising since 12 o'clock. But still, that is no excuse. Well, it was well played by Miyazaki.
Service over, 17-19.
Did look like she was doubting a little bit in the middle of that rally. Had a couple of looks to the baseline to just make sure that those shots weren't going long. Well, she needs this serve to work. And she needs it to work well. That's one way. Cementing that.
19.
Wonderful return. Great return by Han. So much pressure being put on. She's earned her 2 game points.
Service over, 20 game points, 18.
No mistakes allowed for Miyazaki now in this first game.
Thank you, line judge.
Just great placement by Han. Miyazaki trying to fight out of the corners, and that's a beautiful drop in. Well earned first game, 21-18. And Han Jianzi, the 185 ranked player, who's only played 4 events this year, has taken the first game, 21-18.
这个节奏控制好就行了啊。其他的没什么，其他的我反而感觉你发球的时候你要盯紧他的出手。
对，他现在发球，他想打发就发。
他想打发就发，他想打。
他想快速得分。
对啊，如果你
快节奏。
因为你现在呢，你的接发球呢都是啊，如果他低くなっちゃうからあっち2回は高さつかむちょっとテンポを変えて低くちょっと下げる楽に下げるちょっと相手の配球でスピードごまかされてるけどスピード自体が相手が速いわけじゃないから、正しいでしょう。
Well. So we get on to court for game 2. And I wonder if Han Zhanzi had any aspirations of taking that first game, because she has. Pressure is now all on Miyazaki, who is going to be playing at the slightly better side of the court. Let's see what she can do with that. But what has been impressive about Han Zhanzi is she saw where she was making unforced errors. She tightened that in, much like Qian George in the second game of the men's singles semi-final we just watched, and then started just playing within her limits and reacting off Miyazaki, who was getting more and more desperate by the end of that first game.
Service, oh, sorry. 1 love.
Great shot from Miyazaki.
Service over. 1 all.
Again, reset herself really well, Han. She's pushed that too long. She was out of position when she played that.
Service over. 2-1. Thank you. Raise. Tomoka.
Well, Miyazaki has had quite the stellar 2024, of course, beating PV Sindhu in the Swiss Open. And then, well, probably her biggest result was that runner-up spot against Wang Zhiyi in the China Open Super 1000 final.
Over 2 all.
But all those little pieces of success she has to put together into some solid output. She hasn't been looking too solid today. Footwork's definitely been upset by Han Zhanzi. Getting to some shots a little bit later than she usually does, and of course making these errors.
Service over 3-2.
Oh, what a story it would be if Han Zhanzi could make the final here this week in Korea. Mistakes still coming off the racket of Tomoka Miyazaki. And now, I think those mistakes are playing on her mind, because that's the biggest lead that Han Zhanzi has had. Equaling to it, 3 points off the start of the second game. Make that 4 in a row.
6-2.
A 6-2 start for Han Zhanzi.
Race button cut. Race.
Well, what has she done well? This has not been in any way by accident. Well, Han Zhanzi has managed to play out the points the way she's expected to, but she's also managed to turn the screw, take advantage of the points, take control of the points, and start getting Miyazaki chasing the shuttle. Just there, that was exactly where she's done it. So right now they're both fighting for the advantage, but it's Miyazaki that's looking a little bit more shaky. Great shots at the net from Han.
7-2.
And this is rapidly turning into a very dangerous situation for Miyazaki. 5 points down.
Play.
Just a solid, compact output coming from Han Zhanzi. That's wide as well. These errors not helping.
8-2.
8-2 up. Miyazaki trying to fight her way out of a corner. It's another mistake.
9-2.
Again, that's the shot that starts to pull the point away from her opponent for Han Zhanzi. Good push to the back, forcing the error.
10-2.
So on the brink of the second mid-game interval, and it's deepening problems for Tomoka Miyazaki. Wonderful return and follow-up from Han Zhanzi, who's really stepping into the breach now. So 11-2 at the break, and that is not a misread. That's fantastic performance from Han Zhanzi. Well, Han
20
Zhanzi
seconds. 20 seconds.
back out very early, and what's of great concern, should be of great concern to the Japanese team, is that the China coach didn't actually leave his seat for that mid-game interval. It was just nods of the head from his player. Everything's going perfectly well.
11-2.
11-2 up in the semi-final. Fourth event I should say, of the year. Unbelievable. And again, there's that combination left-right from Han Zhanzi. She's already in control of this point. Wonderful drop shot.
12-2.
Just look at it from this side view. Look at that. What she's been doing is she's been sending Miyazaki off to the backcourt corners and then pulling the play back to front court and forcing these errors. That's 13-2.
13-2.
A lot for Tomoka Miyazaki to think about. Some response.
Service over 3-13. Change.
Again, there's that shot that pushes Miyazaki to the back. And then wonderful variation to bring it up front. Look at that open court that she fires into.
Service over
14-3. And I'd have to say, this is a very, very bleak outlook for Miyazaki from here. She's just not been winning enough points. When you're 11 down, one game down, well, you have to really play out of your skin to get out of this one. Another mistake at the nets.
15-3.
Well, Tomoka Miyazaki has been making a lot of headlines, as I said, over the last few months. If she's going to get out of this, the headline would be the greatest comeback of the year. I think that would have to be it. If she can claw it back from 3-15 down in the second. Medical timeout? Yes. Looks like a right knee injury, perhaps. A little bit of a knock, quite timely to break the rhythm of this point, this game. Well, it does look like there's a little bit of a graze there. Well, as I said, she has been chasing the shuttle. Now I think she's going to get a bit of bandage, yes. Well, as you can see from that replay, There's a lot of frustration she's having to deal with now. Certainly not being able to deliver the output that she wants, and that is a better look at that, Grace. Han Shanzi waiting patiently on the other side of the court to score the 6 points she needs to get into the final. Her second final of the year after the Baoji China Masters that she won. And as I said earlier, that's
15-3.
This is her fourth event.
Play.
And it is very common for young players to get their ranking yo-yoing until it settles on what they're actually worth. But I can tell you one thing, Han Shanzi is not 185th in the world, or she won't be for very long. If she can do this to the #1 seed and the 13th ranked player in the world, then we're going to be seeing a lot more from her. Much better for Miyazaki. She comes back from the medical timeout. But I just can't see her coming back, even with her potential and her skill and her ability. I just think Han Shanzi is going to make it to the final this time. Straight onto the attack for Han. Again, plugging the backcourt. And then she goes front. Oh. That's just gone wide.
6-15.
That a little bit too early.
Service over. 16.
Bit too much juice on it. Every point now has to be played perfectly for Miyazaki.
Tomoka.
Clips that.
17-6.
Again, look at that power left and right. Has the foresight to leave that. 18-6. She's not letting up at all. And I think it's pretty much certain that Tomoka Miyazaki is not going to be making her second consecutive career Masters final. Now the question is the manner of her exit. Can she keep this comeback run going for a little longer? Or is Han Shanzi going to take this in some considerable style and fashion? 14 match points for Han Zhanzi. And I'll be honest with you, even I'm surprised at saying that, but what a performance this young lady's put in from China. Took a little ambitious pop onto the back. Her backhand side has been really quite effective. Great little disguised mid-court drop there from Han. Who's now just pushing it a bit long.
8-20.
And as it goes long, that's it. A headline has been made here, but it's not in Tomoka Miyazaki's favor. 21-18, 21-8, and it's Han Zhanzi who's made it through to the final.
Match won by Han Zhanzi. 21-18, 21-8.
Well, a lot to think about for Miyazaki, but what a performance from Han Zhanzi. There's confirmation of it, 21-18, 21-8. Solid performance. There's no repeat final for Miyazaki. And up next, it's the second men's singles semi-final. Wang Jingxing taking on Cho Gan-yup. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to our continuing live coverage of the Korea Masters 2024, and it's the men's singles up next. Wang Zhengjing from China taking on Cho Gan-yup from South Korea. Of course, both of them vying to play Kunavit Vitisan in tomorrow's final. And there's confirmation of Kunavit's great win over Kieran George, even though he did have to last out that second game. As for this bottom half, Well, Wang Zheng came through against